What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host, Ayman Hassan, and welcome back to another video. I wanted to go to space, and I feel like astronauts have an appreciation for human life that normal humans just can't even comprehend. They've seen space and Earth and the moon in all their entirety, and they've seen how small our existence truly is. Like, we're just tiny, puny little humans. But the scariest part about something going wrong in space is that you really are on your own. No one can hear you scream in space. That is a thing. So with those thoughts in mind, let us blast off straight into this video. Was that lame? Don't answer that, I know that was lame. Either way, these are the top 10 scary astronaut encounters. Starting us off at number 10 is the knocking. On a voyage to space back in 2008, Yang Liwei became the first Chinese astronaut to venture into space aboard the Shenzhou 5. On the night of October 16th, Yang had a very peculiar sound coming from outside. It sounded like someone was knocking. The sound sounded like an iron bucket being hit with a wooden hammer. The scariest part of it all was that the sound wasn't coming from the inside of the spaceship, and it wasn't coming from the outside, which makes no sense because space is a vacuum and you can't hear anything. Noise literally doesn't exist. Sound waves need a medium like water or air to pass through, so how did that even happen? Riddle me that, yeah? What makes this whole thing even weirder is that astronauts aboard the following Shenzhou 5 and 6 missions heard the same knocking. So was it a mechanism on the Shenzhou spaceships that caused this knocking to be heard? I don't know. I ain't a damn astronaut. Coming in at number 9 are space snakes. So this one comes from Dr. Story Musgrave, a man who has 6 academic degrees, was part of the Marine Corps, is a physician and mathematician, and he's a bloody NASA astronaut as well. Oh, and he shares the record of most space flights ever taken. So I mean, this man has literally lived 9 lives in one. Like, save some jobs for the rest of us, I swear to God. I'm just trying to get by at this point. Either way, a story said on 2 of his missions, he saw something out there that he doesn't have an answer to. He saw a snake sort of thing. It was 6 to 8 feet long, it was rubbery, and it had internal waves inside of it. And it sort of just followed him for an extended period of time. He claims that being in space makes you see things you'd never imagine. Well, no shit. And that he believes that there are creatures out there much more developed than any of us. And I mean, they've been out there for 100 million years. I'd hope as hell they're advanced. More advanced than us. But honestly, my theory on the snake is that they're just alien devices that just roam space and detect spacecrafts in the area and sort of tail them and send that information back to the alien HQ that deployed it, back to planet Blark. At number 8, we have decompression. So anytime a vessel goes on a voyage to outer space, the changes in atmospheric pressure the astronauts experience can be highly dangerous unless they're doing all the procedures correctly. The year was 1965, Soyuz 11 was re-entering Earth's orbit, and 3 crew members on board ended up dying when depressurized. A technician on the vessel back in Houston said while they were in the vacuum chamber, he accidentally depressurized his own spacesuit and then lost consciousness. He said the last feeling or sensation that he remembered was the moisture on his tongue beginning to boil. Rapid decompression is so serious, the symptoms can include vaporizing blood, swollen flesh, exploding eyeballs, and ruptured lungs. Can you imagine how screwed up the situation is when the moisture on your tongue is boiling? Say less. Also, do you guys like my nail color? I love it. Filling at number 7 slot is the green sighting. So Gordon Cooper is an astronaut that's flown the Gemini 5 and the Mercury 9. He was also the last American to ever spend time in space alone. In May of 1963, he was doing a circumnavigational trip around the Earth on the Mercury capsule, and when he was passing Perth, he saw something. A massive green glowing object came straight for him at a speed he'd never seen before. It was real, it wasn't just illusion, and the Machi tracking station in Western Australia even picked it up on their radar, so it was very much real. Cooper reported it to NBC, but when he landed was told they couldn't question him about it. So that's just another thing that they won't tell us. I feel like we should honestly start rioting until governments all over the world stop keeping from us. I'm over it. I've had enough. Now at number 6 is the alien music, which unfortunately cannot be found on Spotify or Apple Music, so you guys just don't even bother trying to find it. Just don't. Now back in 1969, 4 days after we stepped foot on the moon for the first time, astronauts John Young, Tom Stafford, and Gene Cernan were on the far dark side of the moon. And as Mufasa said to Simba, we don't go there. Now the three men were just chilling on the moon, taking pictures of the craters and drinking some grape juice, when they started hearing a strange otherworldly sort of noise inside their headsets. The music continued for a good hour, and none of the men had heard these types of sound before and knew no one would believe them if they told. They tried to find out where or what the music was, but they simply couldn't. Decades later, the mystery was just never solved, but some claim it was just sound coming from radio interference between spacecrafts, which I get, but how would 3 seasoned astronauts not know what that sounded like? Surely they would have heard that a billion times before as well. Why the hell you lying? Why the hell you lying? I made it PG. Coming in at number 5 is the Millennium Falcon, not to be confused with the one in Star Wars. While watching the ISS NASA live feed back in 2016, Jaden Beeson said he saw a metal spaceship. He said the UFO that he saw seemed similar to the Millennium Falcon found in Star Wars, so he realized he definitely needed to take a screenshot to prove what he was seeing. The metal craft had a blue glow to it and stayed hovering above Earth for about 2 minutes. And it's very clear to see it's not even a small craft by any means, you can definitely see it. Either way, Jaden sent the image to NASA, but he's never gotten an explanation or a response back, which makes the whole thing even that much more suspicious. Are all these craft just hovering above Earth and they're just going away? Why? Come in, you guys, we're friends. At number 4 is the CIGAR. A bit of background so you know how credible this really is. Musa Manarov was a Soviet-Azerbaijani astronaut who holds a record for the longest continuous time spent in space. That record, 541 days. So he's had a lot of experience being in the Black Abyss and seeing everything. One day in 1991, he was on his way to the Mir space station when something caught his eye. On camera, he caught 2 minutes worth of footage of what appears to be a cigar-shaped UFO. It's just floating, lighting up at certain points, spiraling in every direction, and just actually there. But many say that it's hard to tell whether something is close or far away from you in space since you literally have no frame of reference. So you also can't tell how big or small it is. So this cigar could be bigger than Earth, or it could be smaller than me. We don't even know. Musa vehemently denied it being space junk because he's seen space junk many times and this ain't it. And considering he holds the record, I say we trust the man. He sounds credible. Filling our number 3 slot is Major Vladimir. Now, Major General Vladimir Kovalyonok was a cosmonaut in the 80s who saw something bizarre during the CIGAR mission. They were moving over South Africa when he saw an oval-shaped object. Now, initially it flew straight, but then an explosion of golden light occurred. A few seconds later, the oval object transformed into 2 golden spheres. After that, Vladimir just saw white smoke and then the spheres just disappeared into thin air. He said he tried to take a picture of it, but it exploded before he had the chance. When he reported to Mission Control, it was all over Soviet headlines, magazines, newspapers, and most people excluded any option of it being extraterrestrial, but it did happen. It has no explanation whatsoever, and it was seen by not 1 but 2 people, Vladimir and his partner Viktor Savinykh. I hope I said that right. Savinykh. Now at number 2 are the other craft. So we all know about Neil Armstrong setting foot on the moon and the whole leap for mankind spiel, but that was not the full story. According to Maurice Chatelain, the retired chief of NASA communications system, Armstrong saw things when he got off the spacecraft. Seconds before he stepped down the ladder, he saw 2 massive UFOs hovering above him, and Edwin Aldrin even took pictures of them. That was followed by 2 minutes of radio silence because one of the television cameras overheated and then lost reception. How very convenient. During those 2 minutes, there was a critical lost transmission, and that was Armstrong saying, "These babies were huge, sir, enormous. Oh God, you wouldn't believe it. I'm telling you, there are other spacecraft out here, lined up on the far side of the crater's edge. They're on the moon watching us." And that was never made public. It was never even included in any of the records, and he refused to talk about it until his death. Thankfully enough, people had corroborated the evidence that we do know to be true, and I love how this massive part of history that has this whole other side to it we just didn't get told. I am angry, I'm annoyed, but I wish Neil had told us because this is just shocking behavior on his part. Shocking. And finally, at number 1 is the check mark. Back in 2005, American astronaut Leroy Chow had been the commander of the International Space Station for about 6 months at that point. One day, he was installing some antennas 230 miles above Earth when something caught his eye. He saw the sequence of strange lights that seemed to be in a line that looked like an upside down check mark. Not Nike. It's not just do it. it's definitely not. Then the formation flew by him and he was just flabbergasted at what the hell he had just seen. Skeptics tried to convince Leroy that what he had seen was just lights of boats reflecting upwards, but a reflection of lights is one thing. You know when something has its own life and it's moving past you. Reflections only move if the thing that's being reflected is moving, which they weren't. Riddle me that. And that is it for today's video, guys. It's good to be back. I've had a bit of a hiatus. I hope you guys are doing well, keeping safe, and not seeing random things in the sky that could be alien aircraft. However, that is confirmed now. Didn't they confirm? Didn't Area 51 confirm that UFOs do exist? I knew it. And that is it for today's video, guys. I'm your host, Ayman Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.